always gets it right. Shon's the wild card with a laugh in the night. On FolkLOOR, they banter about the latest fight. FolkLOOR podcast, stories non-stop, entertainment gossip, and tech's new crop. Loud opinions, like a punk rock.
That's a great song.
Oi, 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 oi.
Finally, something I can dance to.
I can't change the camera angles and reduce the music at the same time.
It's actually good because I'm having a super bad hair day.
There we go. Okay, we're there.
Darn it.
Hey.
I can't turn down the music and then it's like there are features that are basic to any podcast I can't do. It's
Restream. They should just call it P-Stream.
Oh man,
Smith and Wesson.
Hey guys, welcome to the FolkLOOR podcast. I'm Marcus Pittman. I'm CEO of Lore TV. Jason Farley, Hacksaw. You change your name every time.
I like that.
And then Shon Voyage, who wants you to know right off the bat, you have to go check out his Shon Voyage.
That's why I'm here.
Playlist
just to get
on
those
Spotify.
numbers up.
Yeah, you got to get the.
Hey, when's that Blink 182 guy gonna stop singing?
Okay, there we go. Oh well, welcome today. Today's going to be a great show. We're going to be talking about the South Park lawsuit. We're going to be talking about Questlove and Saturday Night Live and the documentary he just spent 4 years making, I think, on just the music of Saturday Night Live. And so how was everybody's week?
Hanging in there.
Awesome. Super. That was
thrilling.
convincing. Hacksaw Farley. Hanging in there.
I'm honoring one of my favorite WWF wrestlers of all time.
Oh, that's nice.
Jim Hacksaw.
I do like that you change your moniker every episode. It's nice.
Gotta keep the people on their toes.
Yeah, it's the suspense. It's the suspense.
It's so nice.
Yeah. Shon, how was your week?
I had an awesome week. I mean, I'm still having it technically. We're having it right now. It's been amazing. I don't know where to start. What about you, Marcus?
Yeah, no, I've had a great week. A lot of meetings for Lore. We're getting all this content up. All the we have the new the new Unreal Sports from the late night Fox Sports era that we just dropped on Lore TV, and I'm excited about having some sketch comedy on Lore TV. So that's exciting.
Yeah. Or like we like to say inside sketchy comedy.
Do we say that?
I do.
Is that,
I just started it now.
Yeah, that's. So speaking of comedy, I think this is probably one of the funniest lawsuits of all time. At least it is for Matt Stone and Trey Parker. But South Park is coming up on their trial for the distribution conflict that they're in, I guess, between Paramount and it's Paramount, Comedy Central, and who? Sorry, hold on, I'm gonna pull it up.
And HBO, right?
Yeah, it's HBO, and so let me pull it up real quick.
I like that. Whenever you don't want to call something a war, you just call it a conflict.
Yeah. Where some lawyer somewhere got fired for writing some contracts that
well, I don't know, he did a good job for one side.
Right.
Break it down for us.
I'm gonna break it down. So basically you have HBO and Paramount, and one owns the rights to South Park, and yet the rights to streaming new episodes was sold to HBO. And so Paramount decided they're going to do the streaming platform, and they're like, we can't do a streaming platform without South Park. That's crazy. But they already sold the rights for hundreds of millions of dollars to HBO for new seasons. So Paramount had to figure out, well, how can we still do new South Park without breaking the exclusive contract with HBO? And so what they decided to do was basically made for TV films that technically qualify as films, but they're also only about 40 minutes an episode. So or they're like 90 minutes, right? Or 60 minutes. So they're technically a special event that's how Paramount calls it. A special event, even though it's just like a 40 to 50-minute episode of South Park. And then HBO goes, hey, you can't do a 50-minute episode of South Park when we have exclusive streaming rights and we're owed like several new seasons. And so basically South Park has been in the middle of this legal battle, which is why the only episodes of South Park you've seen are like the COVID special. The Streaming Wars special was the first one they did, actually, in which they made fun of themselves. And I think one of the South Park characters is, you can't have exclusive streaming rights if the same people are making the same show for different networks. So, which is amazing that they laugh at themselves, like because I think Matt Stone and Trey Parker are getting money either way from both sides, so they don't really care.
I think they're getting their bills paid either way.
Yeah,
bag.
And they've been so focused on the Mexican restaurant thing that they're building that they really haven't even had the time to make new episodes of South Park. So it's worked out perfectly for them. But anyway, it's a massive legal battle. It's actually looks like it's actually going to go to court, which will be interesting. There's been no settling. But yeah, it's hundreds of millions of dollars. I think. I mean, I like the South Park IP is at least worth $1 billion. I think they sold to Paramount for like 500 million. And then, or they sold HBO for like 500 million, and then Paramount put in another 200 million or so. Like Bat Stone and Trey Parker have made $1 billion out of this deal. They have real money from this show, which was started with construction paper and the like. And so it's absolutely fascinating because the show, this is going to really determine what the definition of a television show is, because what they're doing is they're using old school language for television shows when television shows were 20-minute sitcoms.
Yeah.
Right.
They're playing with the words.
Yeah. And now that streaming exists, there really isn't a set time for a TV show. Some go 35 minutes, 37 minutes. Netflix has famously told the filmmakers, just finish the story. Don't worry about the time. And that's why you'll see one episode of Severance is longer than the next episode of Severance or Ozarks or something like that. They're just all different varying times. And so that works in streaming, but television has been around so long, everything is legally defined. And so the same rules don't apply except when the lawyers write contracts to do so, or look through loopholes. So that's a fascinating case, and it explains why there hasn't been any episodes of South Park, even during the whole Central run and all this other great content that would have been around. You don't have any, but
I just want to see Matt Stone and Trey Parker on the stand.
Oh yeah, and here's the kicker. Here's the best part of this.
They're going to be doing LSD while they're on the stand.
Yeah, I know. In dresses.
Yeah, ayahuasca and LSD at the same time.
And so here's the best part. Paramount's exclusive contract is running out, probably before this case is finished. So it ultimately doesn't matter either way, unless the lawsuit requires them to extend the length of the time. But yeah, so it's a big mess, and I hope they get it figured out, because I don't want South Park to die in a lawsuit. I think the show needs to keep.
It'll never die.
It's gone on. It's been around almost as much time, not as much, but almost as much time as The Simpsons. And it hasn't gone into obscurity, cultural obscurity. Like
it hasn't gone stale.
Yeah, it hasn't gone stale. And so, Shon, are you there?
I'm here. Did you lose me again?
No, I didn't. No. I didn't. It sounded like it did, but it did.
You want me to use sign language? I know a lot of ASL.
Okay. But
do you have the clip? There's a great clip from that episode where with the lawyer in the courtroom.
I don't have it. It was too long.
Oh.
But that's okay.
All right.
We'll it's fine. So what is next? What's next on the
Wait a
block?
minute. We don't get reactions. Jason and I don't get to react to your
Oh
story.
yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought that was my story, but go ahead. Yeah, feel free.
It's our
free.
story.
No.
It's our story, Mr. Hand.
Yeah.
For me, it's been like a South Park episode coming to life watching this thing happen. Because it's exactly the sort of thing that South Park would. It's exactly the sort of thing South Park would make an episode about. Well, what's the definition of episode?
What's the definition of TV?
Yeah, what if we called it something short? What if we called it something else? And it's South Park logic coming to life. So it's why South Park, I think, continues to resonate, is because they make fun of this sort of thing that really happens.
Well, I wish we could pull the clip, because the scene where you got the lawyer in the courtroom and he's like, what's the line he says? So you have 2 streaming companies with exclusive rights. It's just, it's genius. It's genius. I anything about South Park I really like. It's, you guys saw the documentary, right? What was that called again?
I did the 6 days to air.
Yeah. I probably shouldn't do this, but first of all, before I say what I'm going to say, I've always wanted to do the Brady Bunch thing on this podcast where we look at each other. But does that work? Where you do like that and you look down? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus. Hey, Jason. Did I do it right?
Hey,
you did it right.
I have no idea.
Hey, Jason. Okay, I've always wanted to do that.
There you go.
Okay.
You did it.
Okay, great. So I got that. Hold on. I got that out of the way. Annette, where's my pen? Okay. This is true. I have some friends. They're going to remain unnamed that work for Matt and Trey, and they've been working for them for a long time. They don't get paid very well. I know that's going to crush a lot of people, but that's upsetting to me. Those guys are taking home a pretty big bag, but the team, not so much. So I didn't.
That's a bummer.
I know, but I didn't mean to bring us down. But I think it's important to get some of this. I think it's important to pull back the curtain a little bit and let people know that it's not all rosy peaches over there. Whatever rosy peaches are. Anyways, sorry for bringing it down, guys. But what was the most important part of that was the Brady Bunch thing. That's what I really wanted to do. Before we finish, hold on. Are there people in the chat room?
There are some people watching us in the chat room.
There are some people.
Yeah. People, the chat, we'll call them the chatters, chat people. Chat people, we want to get questions from you because we're going to answer as many as we can. So come up with a really great question that we maybe know the answer to, and get those in the chat room.
Nice.
That sounds great. I think the trivia question is next, right?
I think so. Jason, you have good trivia.
Okay. This is the trivia question for the week. Which musical guest has appeared as a musical guest on SNL the most times?
Wait a minute. You kind of just gave it away because you said guest. So it's not a band.
Well,
it's not a group. Did you get
that is it? It's musical guest would I guess it does depend on how you end up defining it, but musical guest meaning they were on the stage for the musical performance.
Okay, so it's a person, one single human being, not a band.
It does happen to be that, but yes.
Okay. Marcus, who do you think it is?
You want me to just say what I think the answer might be?
No.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm joking. Yes.
Yeah.
My initial answer is actually my initial answer would be Justin Timberlake.
Ooh.
It's a good guess.
Can I give like go ahead.
No, because you did not specify that it was performances.
Oh.
All right, that's a good guess.
I like your reaction. What was that? What was that grunt? What was that grunt, Marley?
Do I want to give anything away? That was that was me. That was what I thought of. The thinking question.
That's
the
what
thinking
I thought
noise.
Well, I have two answers. I have the answer that I want it to be, and then the answer I think it is.
Okay.
All right.
So I want it to be Beck or Paul Simon. People are going to be like, Paul Simon.
Both brilliant geniuses.
Paul Simon, wasn't he in the Beatles? No, honey. So then I do like the Timberlake, but then it's like, is it it's not Madonna. Who's Timberlake? It's hard to compete with that one. But okay, if I had to pick another one, maybe it's not Lady Gaga because she's too new. It's got to be someone that kind of spans a little bit. It's not Fred Durst. It's not the lead singer of Puddle of Mud. Hold on, I'm so close to this. Wait a minute. Hold on.
We do have a question in the chat, although it's not about this, so maybe we can come to it next.
Can we? Okay, let's do that.
We'll come back to the answer at the end.
Sorry for making you guys sit through my brain trying to exercise. It wasn't fun for anybody, even me. What's the question in the chat?
What's one discontinued show you'd bring back?
Me.
Yeah, go for it, Shon.
Simon and Simon.
That's a brilliant answer.
You mentioned this show before.
Maybe to you personally, privately, but not to the general public.
No, I know. What? Because I've never heard of this show, and you talk about it.
Shut the front door.
I have not.
He's the millennial amongst us.
I'm the millennial. That's
You've
why.
never. Okay. Is it worth trying to explain it, or is that
absolutely. Yeah.
Give a log line.
I'll just say that Thursday nights, if I remember correctly, it was like the combo night where you get the combo platter. You got Magnum PI, and then after that, you got Simon and Simon. Pretty sure that was the order. And it was a perfect pairing, like cheese and wine. And Simon and Simon, they were buddies. I think they were buddies, or were they brothers? I don't know. But they drove around in a truck down somewhere in San Diego and solved crimes. And they were awesome. And I loved it. And supposedly, you cannot find it on any streaming service. I've looked into it. I haven't gotten the answer to why. I'd love to pose that.
Probably a music rights thing.
Yeah.
It's like Carol Burnett. It's
Mike Post said, "Not this one. You're not going to get away with this one because I don't need more royalties. Damn it."
Yeah, it's like I think Carol Burnett show had that problem too, where like the first 3 seasons were completely unavailable because of just musical rights issues, and then I think the Muppet Show had that problem until Disney started Disney Plus. So you were never able to get like the true stuff, and then. So then
you could be right.
That.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully there's 1 or 2 people in the audience that are like, "Yeah, Shon, I totally agree with that."
And what's worse is it's probably not like theme song related. It's just some background chords that are just in a copyright lockup.
Background chords.
Yeah.
By the way,
or a sound effect. It's
by the way, a lot of the kids. I used to wear background chords back in the day, but it's another thing. That was a fashion joke. That was a dad joke.
Eddie tells us that Simon and Simon were brothers.
That's right, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie. Where's Eddie from? Kansas? Where's he from?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Facebook.
But thank you for clarifying. Obviously, I'm such a deep fan that I didn't know they were brothers because they don't really look alike, but they just had good chemistry. Kind of like the A-Team. A-Team, the chemistry of those actors. They had that magic 80s chemistry. Anyways.
So the right answer on what you would bring back is Firefly, but I'm not going to say that because I'm going to give the wrong answer because I would bring back the Cosby Show.
That was what I was going to say.
Oh, really?
I was going to say that. Like, if you bring back the Cosby Show, I'd bring back the
Huxtables.
So,
but I'll say this. I thought Jason was going to say Freaks and Geeks.
That's my number 2.
That would be my number 2 also.
Can I high five you? Can you do this? Like, look, like, yeah, high five. Bro.
Nailed it. Yeah.
Just nailed it.
Yeah, the Cosby Show for sure. One of the best sitcoms of all time.
Yeah.
That's
Even
cool. I like that.
problems aside.
Hey, so we've talked about this. When we get a little bit more loot, literally and figuratively, we're bringing that show back.
Yeah, that's the goal. We want to stream the Cosby Show on Lord.
We want to stream.
I have hunted down who currently controls the rights, so I know who to call when the time comes.
Is it true that here's the thing that Marcus hunted down, that the Cosby Show owns the rights to Simon and Simon? Wasn't it something like that? It's weird. Marcus, remember you looked that up? Like
no, it wasn't me that found that, but it was like I think actually it was Bill Cosby. No, it's the car in the midair. What's that show?
Yeah, it's Dukes of Hazzard. Oh,
yeah, the Dukes of Hazzard.
And it's Bill Cosby.
Bill Cosby owns the rights to the Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah,
Dukes of Hazzard. Wow, so we'll do a twofer.
Wow, it's like a cancel.
We'll do a twofer.
Yeah,
you know what? If I was to program this, I would air those two back to back. Bill Cosby right into the Dukes of Hazzard. Total crossover audience.
Yeah. I want a mashup episode where the Duke boys show up at the Huxtables' house.
I'm writing that down. That's a good skit idea.
That's great.
I'm throwing away all my other notes. That's
the winner.
That's the winner. By the way, that's a great skit idea.
It really is. Chip Rossetti said Alf, Mork and Mindy, and Cheers. All amazing episodes.
Chip, I like this guy.
Yeah.
Chip Rossetti?
Chip is a great filmmaker, by the way.
Yeah, great filmmaker.
Any relation to Marco Rossetti?
Or Christina Rossetti? Oh, no, that's probably not true.
Or Luigi Rossetti. Yeah. Hey, that's a great... These are... Okay, this is fun. Let's hang on this segment for like 2.5 more minutes. Marcus, what are yours?
Oh, man. So I think there's shows... I can't think of one that I would that was canceled I would want to bring back. But I could think of shows I would want to relive again for the first time, and I don't know if bringing it back is that's not the same thing. But for sure, Breaking Bad.
Wait, was that canceled?
It wasn't. It's discontinued because it's like they finished it. Does that count? That's not the same thing?
Not quite the same thing.
Not quite the same thing, I don't think. Thank you, Jason.
Okay. Well, that I think is probably one of my favorite shows of all time. But just like reliving that show again would be an amazing experience. As far as like a show that was canceled or discontinued, I think on Cartoon Network, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Yes, one of the greatest cartoons ever made.
Yes, and I think like by the time I discovered that show, it was over. Like it was like probably like I got into that show probably maybe on the last season, and I was just waiting for the next season, and it never came, and it just disappeared.
What's it called? What's it called?
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Yeah, it's about all these abandoned imaginary friends. It's an animated show on Cartoon Network. Right up there with like Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory. Probably on the tail end of that cartoon era. That would the peak cartoon era. And I think that is a show that should be brought back for sure.
Did either one of you have imaginary friends when you were a kid?
I did, but I don't remember them.
I had one.
Or else they wouldn't be imaginary friends. They would still be my friends.
Maybe we're your imaginary friends. Would that be weird?
I have wondered that a few times about Marcus.
It could be.
He's the kind of person I would invent as an imaginary friend. So
that's sweet, man. I appreciate that.
That is sweet. That's great. I love those moments.
Noah says Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes. That's all. But you can see that on MeTV like 100 times a day, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been watching reruns of Gunsmoke too, like the old school Gunsmoke, and like that era of television where like the moral dilemma isn't really like good guy versus bad guy, but it's more like it's just about should I do the right thing or not.
Yeah.
The Waltons is like that too, right? Like the Waltons is we want to help someone out, but we don't have any money. So how do we help them out if we don't have money? Like that's the plot of the show.
We take John Boy to a dermatologist and get that damn mole removed. Sometimes the invoice comes out.
I can't stop staring at it, man. Like I wouldn't even recognize.
That's another good skit. That's another good skit. Just like, I can't stop staring at your mole, John Boy.
No, man, that skit you do it from the cameraman's perspective. The camera keeps
zooming in.
Zooming in, and they're like, "Cut! No, you gotta." And he's like, "I'm trying," and he can't quit zooming in.
I'm just trained to frame on what's interesting. Right?
Oh my god! Okay, by the way, that is another for our late night. That there's something there about John Boy's Mole.
Yeah.
That's
and if not that, at least that's a good band name.
John Boy's Mole.
and it turns out he was like fired because he kept doing the same thing to Gorbachev's head.
Oh my goodness! Can I do a late entry on this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. But I want to walk you through how I got here. So
Okay.
I've been really impressed with Justine Bateman and listening to her, and she's fearless and she's cool and she's a beautiful woman. And I there's so many things I like about her, but one of the things I love about her too is she's one of these women who refuses to do all the plastic surgery and she's going to age naturally. And I just commend, I've got a lot of dear friends like that. And I really commend people that do that. But she is stunning. She was beautiful. And she was in Family Ties. And I was like, Family Ties. I wouldn't mind just getting a bowl of chicken noodle soup and getting on that couch and just diving into like a marathon of Family Ties. What say you, Marcus and Jason?
That was a great show.
Yeah, no, that was a great show. Actually, I don't remember it that much, but I've heard of it. I've heard it was a great show.
I grew up.
You guys are a little older than me, but
you don't have to rub it in. Jeez.
I think the term is a little wiser.
Is that the one with Michael? Is that the one with Michael J. Fox?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm a little bit more familiar.
She's the sister, but it's one of those shows. I just bring it up because I'm intrigued by shows that were just massive hits, and then they kind of just disappeared. And then there's shows that were pretty big hits, and we see tons of reruns of them, and it all has to do with the syndication and the deals and all that. But that's one I would like to see.
I mean, I think it's been done well, and I would say that when they brought back Roseanne, the original, like they actually had Roseanne on it, like before they canceled her and fired her and turned it into the Connors, and nobody watched, but it's a nonprofit write-off for them to keep it on so they can say it was successful. And I don't know a single person. You know a single person that watches the Connors? That's a great question for the chat. Do you know a single person that watches the Connors? Because I think their Nielsen ratings are completely false.
Oh, I think the guy who was the grip on the show watches it.
That's about it. But that first season they brought back Roseanne was so good, and like the political climate was like really perfect for it because you had the feminist sister, and then you had Roseanne, and the family was more conservative, and it just worked really well. And then for them to, I think they were nervous. They were like, "Oh man, if this show's going to keep going, this is going to get us in political drama." And I think they were looking for an out, and they took it with Roseanne and as soon as they could, and then turned in the Connors, and nobody cares. What do you see? Like Roseanne was on like Tom McDonald's rap music video, and she did a rap, and she said she made what?
Oh, go ahead.
You haven't seen that?
No, I've watched a lot of Tom McDonald. It feels funny saying that. He sounds like a restaurant. Have you ever been down to Tom McDonald's? They serve a great Salisbury steak. What can we talk? Can we double click on Tom for a second? What do you guys think of Tom? I'm very curious.
I think he is a talented artist. I'm gonna get real deep here. I think he's a talented artist. I think he has an incredible business model, but I think he's what I would call a meme artist, where he's really good at these songs that last for a moment. But I think like long term culturally impactful, I don't think like that he's there yet. It could be yet, but I think like he just has. I think he makes hip hop music for older people who like hip hop music. That's kind of like my way, but I don't think he has like a big like young Gen Z following or something that's going to like he's not going to be a Nirvana, right? Like it's not going to be something that is going to be multi-generation. His music's
Thank
not
goodness, because that
multi-generational,
guy
I
is
think.
not even alive anymore.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I wouldn't
I don't
want
want
to be
him.
Nirvana
I don't
either.
want him to go the Kurt Cobain route.
Nah.
I just think there is, and maybe this is a good lead in to talk about the SNL documentary, which I think I think it is. There's a difference between these artists and bands that take 50 years later. You can watch this documentary and you can point to all these bands and go, they had huge cultural moments, many of them only because of Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Live existed. So let me bring this to this documentary. So Questlove, who is the drummer for the Roots, and also the Roots is Jimmy Fallon's band, but they've been around a lot longer than Jimmy Fallon's band for late night. But Questlove went, and in 2022 he was asked by Lorne Michaels to produce a documentary just on the music of Saturday Night Live. So this was in 2022. So he's had about 4 years to work on 1 2-hour documentary. And he went and he watched all 50 years, every episode of Saturday Night Live. And he had teams come together and they pulled every musical act in the 50-year history. And he made this amazing documentary on it. And what I want to do is I want to show, and feel free, please, when I'm showing this, feel free to like stop me, and if you wanna like talk about a certain thing, because this is the first 7 minutes, of this show, and
Are we going to watch the full 7, or are we going to?
No, because
Okay.
I don't think we can. We have to kind of talk over it too, because we'll get copyright struck. But what I want to do is, before we play and talk over it, I want to encourage everybody to watch this. It's on Peacock. Even just as I've watched this piece like
Gentlemen,
10 times.
ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
By the way, I just want to set this up. He took 11 months to make this first 10 minutes. It was 11 months of time and event to get to this point. Have you seen it yet?
I started to, and then guess what? I had technical difficulties.
All right. Here we go.
Gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen.
ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen.
ladies and
Gentlemen.
ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen. And now, ladies and gentlemen.
ladies and gentlemen,
Ladies and gentlemen.
ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Saturday, New York, jolt of electricity, iconic
Musical history, game-changing for a network show.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
Excitement, energy, adrenaline, live.
absolutely terrifying.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm on SNL and you're not.
Can we hit pause?
Yeah. No,
So,
please.
Right. The first thing I want to say is like, this is a masterclass in editing.
No, it's unbelievable. And this thing's 7 minutes long, and it goes through basically, I'm just going to say, the entire history of pop culture and pop music.
Oh,
And it perfectly blends all these songs together. And I remember when I was watching this, maybe like the third time, I texted Jason actually. And I remember this thing that popped in my head where it's like, you just see these clips and like, they're showing how pop music all uses the same chords, and they're saying, see how like awful pop music is because it all sounds the same. And like when I watched this, I was like, it sounds the same because it's the same language. Like it's like it sounds that way because God gave us music and a world and chords, and certain chords make different styles of songs, and this is one of those things. And just it just goes and like this thing, it goes on. And so I'll play a little bit more.
Are you ready for this? We're ready for this. Are you ready for this? We're ready for this. Yeah.
Wow.
I just
This is like a
I
girl.
just
This is like a girl
listen.
talk mashup.
Listen, there. This is what this is. I said this to Jason when I heard Questlove talk about how he spent 11 months just on this, and I said I can't think of one person in the conservative or Christian film space, the friendly space, whatever you want to call it. There's not one person that thinks so deeply about a subject that could make something like this. We just don't have that talent built up. Like Questlove, I guess a lot of drummers get I get this. It's sort of like the meme for drummers is that they're the dumb drummer. But Questlove is a brilliant philosopher
Drummers are
and student
smart.
of
Are you
music.
kidding?
Yeah, and
Stuart
Jason,
Copeland,
you
Phil
said
Collins.
this too about Questlove is like you can tell he loves the music.
Yeah,
right. Like
he
this is
loves
not
the
something-
music, and he wants you to love it the way he does. That's the way he puts everything together.
You know what's so cool about that is he was also one of the featured artists in the HBO's Yacht Rock documentary, and you just nailed it, Marcus. Why his interviews are so compelling, and frankly, all the interviews in that doc is that they genuinely love music. He's a genuine. He studies. He's a historian of music, and he does not care about politics or any of that stuff. He's a purist about music, and I think you just nailed it. That's a really interesting.
Yeah,
we
it's
need
one thing.
more people like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could tell like he's not, and the thing is like I mean the Roots are known for hip hop and all they did there. Jason, you should probably tell that story in a second about the basement, but
That sounds weird.
his love of music isn't just limited to just that one genre. Like for him to be able to listen to all these different pieces of music and then to be able to say and say this song goes with that song and that song goes with that one and didn't make a 7-minute montage of 50 years of great music and bands from Saturday Night Live I mean, like you talk about like winning an Emmy for best editing. If that doesn't get it, there's not a single TV show
100%.
that has that level of dedication to it. Like he should absolutely win that for that.
100%.
But, Jason, tell the story that you were telling me about the Roots.
There's one high school in Philadelphia, all in the same graduating class, Boys to Men, Belle Biv DeVoe, Jill Scott, and the Roots, all in the same graduating class. So
that's in Philly, or is that Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it's Philly. Yeah. And they had the senior talent show that year apparently was epic because those bands had all formed in high school, and so you had this epic senior talent show with all of them. But they used to go to Questlove's house and go into the basement and listen to records, and Questlove's parents would bring records to them, show them records, classic records, and they would sit and do music together, listen to music, play music, write music. And they were all in high school together. And I think 9 gold records came out of that basement. It was a high school that came out, or a high school graduating class, a basement that produced the new R&B mixed with hip hop, the next wave of hip hop, and then Jill Scott, one of the great R&B singers. It's just an incredible story.
That's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I the like that sort of level of like dedication to the craft from a child, from being a child is very rare. And Questlove talks about how his parents would wake him up on Saturday nights, like at 11:30, before 30 minutes before Soul Train, or at the end of Saturday Night Live, right? So it was at the end of Saturday Night Live, and then the last into Soul Train. His parents would wake him up because he had to be in bed at 8, but they'd wake him up to watch the Soul Train and the end of Saturday Night Live, so he could see all the music and stuff. And like I think there's a level of love within that community for the arts and music in the same way like we tend to like say, oh, you gotta listen to this politician, or you gotta watch this news sort of thing. Like we get really focused on like current events, politics, and that sort of thing. But in these communities, like especially urban communities, like it's music, it's sports. Like there's a very broad emphasis on no, you can make a name for yourself from these cultural institutions. I think a lot of that is because there's not a lot of government assistance to do those things. So it's one of the few areas where poor inner city kids, like it's just purely focused on talent, right? Like so there's no DEI or anything like that.
Yeah, that's 100% right. Yeah.
Pure talent, like and that's what they all push for, and the parents strive to say, no, I want you to be the best athlete possible. I'm going to take you to all your games, and you know those sort of things. Like it's completely different.
Totally different. And they're not caught up in the national narrative and the elite coastal and all the PC stuff. They just see talent. It was like when
they don't. I was gonna say that they don't want to become a great musician to stick it to the left.
Yeah.
Right. They're like they're not, oh yeah, I'm gonna wake my kid up and he's gonna love music so that there can be a competitor to the leftist ideals propagated in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's not how it is. It's just a pure focus on talent and skill and just making great content. And through that, they've been able to create like these, underground, like you said, like these basements where all these artists can come out and thrive, because what they're centered around is not politics, but just the art form. And that is, without that, I don't think there can be any alternatives to any of this stuff without just people coming together that just love the craft. And there's no agenda behind it.
Shon, what was the documentary about yacht rock?
So that's so it's HBO's Yacht Rock, a documentary, spelled DOCK. But that just came out maybe a month ago. I was blown away. I think for me it was like probably one of the best music documentaries. But they interviewed quite a few people, celebrities and musicians throughout, and Questlove had a pretty prominent role. And what I liked is he really genuinely appreciated the musicianship of Michael McDonald and Christopher Cross and Toto and Kenny Loggins. He had just mad respect, and that's rare, because you get sometimes guys like that going, oh man, it's just the white man ripping off like the whole soul thing. And like, he's not going there at all.
I was trying to cue it up, but I can't cue it.
Well, I see. That's one of those technical accidents that I love it. It was nice. It was like, that was Marcus's way of saying, Shon, land the plane. But let's watch it. Let's watch the first opening of this.
Okay.
You don't know me, but I'm your brother.
It rocks, but it doesn't rock too hard. The singers all seem to be saying, hey, it's gonna be okay.
It's perfect sitting down dancing music.
Also known as yacht rock. LA in the 1970s.
It was an amazing time.
There's these really talented session guys who can play anything.
Steely Dan.
The Doobie Brothers.
Toto.
Kenny Loggins.
Christopher Cross. Michael fucking McDonald.
You have these sensational white musicians who had been acculturated on black music styles.
You write what you hear, what you feel.
A lot of the black stations picked up my first album. They made it a hit. It caused a buzz that we weren't used to getting.
Just seemed to really connect with the audience.
These artists provided the soundtrack of our lives, and then suddenly all that changed.
The video killed the radio star thing. It was just absolutely true in my case.
Yeah. Top 40 careers having.
Yeah.
It's so
I'm gonna have to watch this. That looks amazing.
I just got into the trailer and forgot you guys were here.
That's a good sign. I encourage everybody to watch it. I've actually watched it 3 times, which is rare, but it's got so much heart and soul. There's a lot of kind of deeper messages in there, but it's thoroughly entertaining, and it's gonna make you want to go see a yacht rock concert, which we're gonna do tomorrow. Yachtly Crew is playing at Fantasy Springs tomorrow, and we're going. I'll tell you all about it. next
Oh,
week.
that's next week.
Awesome.
Next week we're gonna
Next week.
learn about the
I'm
your
gonna school
Yachtly
you.
Crew tour.
Yachtly Crew. What a great, perfect name for.
Yeah.
It's great. It's fantastic. I want to point out too that also in the documentary, and the reason we brought it up is like Questlove is in there too, right? Like Questlove, drummer for the Roots, doing a documentary on yacht rock, which I've never even heard of, and like as that definition, I recognize those artists. I never heard that term yacht rock before until you started to mention the documentary, and so just insane. And also Fred Armisen, which like that guy is so seriously underrated in his musical knowledge.
He is.
Did you ever? Did you ever watch his comedy special for drummers?
Yeah, it was good.
Chris Hines is doing something with him, right? He's got a show.
I don't think you're allowed to talk about it though.
Yeah,
but yes, he is.
They made a pilot, but yeah, that's where it is.
Yeah.
By the way, I have a pilot story later, but I'll tell you later. I don't want to interrupt this great flow we have. Anyways. Can I tell the story?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Because it's random and we didn't plan for it. It's a dumb story. My production company got hired to go down to Barbados to film some promo video for a resort. This I was like 26. And when we got to the customs or whatever, the immigration, the mean people that ask you questions, he's like, what are you here to do? And I was like, oh, we're here to shoot a pilot. And they're like, why don't you come with us? And so I had to go to secondary. And I learned the hard way, never tell anyone you're shooting a pilot when you get questioned at the airport.
I had to think about it for a minute, and then
I could tell on the delayed reaction.
It was delayed. Yeah.
It was like a telegraph joke.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's fantastic. So I will keep that in mind.
And I'll try not to tell my jokes in Morse code in the future.
Oh man!
So Shon, you got a documentary that you want to talk about. Why don't you bring that up?
Oh yeah, so Stacy Peralta, who is a famous skateboarder born out of the 70s and the director of Dogtown and Z-Boys, and just an absolute legend and a superstar. This director did a quick mini doc on him, and this is one of those just documentaries that moved me, like this SNL thing moved you. I want to show a snippet of it. It's called Against the Grain, and this is some of the wisest words. A lot of people talk about Rick Rubin as being sort of this like kind of modern day wise man guru, but Rick Rubin doesn't hold a candle to Stacy Peralta. Let me show you why. And we'll watch this little bit if you have that queued up.
It's really dangerous to get good at something, because when you get good at something, it sometimes can prevent you from wanting to learn new things because you don't want to go backwards and put yourself in that kook phase. But when you keep yourself in that kook phase, you expose yourself, you make yourself vulnerable, and you open yourself up so life has a chance to get in you and work its magic on you. Go in and do something that you don't know how to do, and go spend months feeling insecure and uncertain. It's a horrible feeling, but it's really healthy to live that way. That plays out in every artistic part of my life. It doesn't matter whether I'm skateboarding, surfing, making a film, or painting. My process is the same in each one of them. That's the magic. Be a kook.
So I just love that. I think it's a great little mini doc, but that mindset that he has, I thought was genius.
Well, I think the idea of like when you get good at something and you stop improving or learning new things is like really, really key. I feel like that's where Hollywood is right now. They've just gotten really good at the marketing, at like what needs to be made. We'll just do remakes and not focus on new IP because we know that works. And then you just don't, like, they just completely got rid of indie film culture. that sort of thing. And I think that like that's one example, but I think also it's why artists need to have some sort of creative control or creative risk. They need to be free to take some sort of creative risk with every film and project that they do. And when that's limited, especially whether it's from a studio that's limiting it or studios pushing maybe casting requirements or something for other reasons, I think that's where you just get this stagnated film culture.
Yeah, you're totally right, Jason.
Well, yeah, I actually last weekend, not even know we were going to talk about this. I just rewatched Dogtown and Z Boys.
Oh, did you?
And yeah, it's such an inspiring story about a guy who basically rounds up all of these semi-homeless kids in his neighborhood and teaches them to skate and changes skateboarding forever with this group of just boys that have no dads, basically. I mean, a couple of them do, but most of them are just boys with no dads. And he's got a surf shop, and he starts teaching them how to skateboard, and then turns them into a skate team, and they go out and like change the skate world. And it's a really inspiring documentary. It's also when you realize that the late 70s and early 80s, there was no parental oversight. Like they're sneaking into pools and emptying pools and skateboarding, Peralta's a great storyteller. And then as an artist, my first deck I skated was Powell Peralta. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know all this about you. This is what I like about this podcast. I learned so much about you guys, my imaginary friends.
I was not a skateboarder. I was not. I know it might be shocked to some of you guys, but that was not my thing. I did always want some Heelys though, but
I can get you some Heelys.
My parents wouldn't let me get some Heelys.
At this point, it might be dangerous to get Marcus Healy. So I don't know.
What size do you wear, Marcus?
I wear 10.5.
Okay, because my Amazon Prime's saying we can have it there by 5 p.m. on the 1st.
I'll film myself on Heelys.
So the new doc that about Stacy Peralta is called Against the Grain, right?
Against the Grain, yeah. You can watch it on YouTube for free, but you're going to probably watch it here as well at some point. So, hey, what was the trivia answer? Are we on the trivia answer?
Yeah, it depends on how you count. Because there are two people that could be the answer, but it depends on how you count. Because Paul Simon has been the musical guest 14 times.
Wait a minute. Okay.
So you nailed that.
End there, so I win.
But Dave Grohl he's been on the stage 15 times, but he drummed for Nirvana, for Foo Fighters. He was a drummer for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers when they went on there, and then them Crooked Vultures. So 3 of his bands have been on there, and then he drummed for Tom Petty. And so he's been on stage 15 times. Third is Justin Timberlake. So
wow, okay. So we're not bad at our trivia.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's kind of cool. I like that. Grohl, by the way, I have had a chance to party with him in Vegas back in the long days ago. Shows my age, but I like showing my age. And he is got to be one of the coolest, nicest, funniest dudes in rock and roll, hands down. And I've met a lot of them, but he's my favorite. And he's still alive, which I really like about him.
Yeah. And I love the Foo Fighters and Nirvana both. So
yeah.
And he made a documentary called Studio City that is well worth watching as well.
Hey, I wonder, just out of curiosity, there must be, I always think about Coachella and what's like, me and my buddies that go to Coachella, we're like, what would be the best reunion? What's the big one? And they've almost all been done. There's 2 that haven't yet. One's Talking Heads, which would be great. But the other one would be Nirvana with, you name who would be the Kurt Cobain replacement. But that, if they did Nirvana and they had a good Kurt, maybe Pete Davidson.
We just need to make sure we get a Pete Davidson dig into every episode.
Is Pete
Every
Davidson
time.
our Matt Damon? Is that
Yes.
is that what it is?
I'm writing that down. Yeah. He's gonna make we got to find him a way to get him into every podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, I know that our time's about up, but if there was a Kurt Cobain replacement, in the same way that Sublime just used Bradley Knowles' son, or Journey picked a guy in the Philippines that was in a cover band, who would be the Kurt Cobain replacement today?
Ariana Grande, hands down.
And the winner is Hacksaw Farley.
Well, what about Linkin Park's replacement? Have you guys seen that with the woman?
Tom McDonald.
Oh man!
What are your thoughts on Linkin Park's replacement using a woman for it?
Oh, it would be who's the girl who changed her sex from Little Miss Sunshine? You're gonna Ethan.
I know what you're talking about.
Yes, she's a boy now. He's a boy. It's a boy. They are a boy.
They are legion.
I know who you're talking about, but
not her. Him.
I don't know. I don't know her. I don't remember her male name.
Marcus, did you get the? I sent you the Suno link in Slack.
Ooh,
or the Suno.
Right.
Can we? I just want to, because sometimes we don't tell people what's going on here, but we have a really awesome in-house band. They're music composers, and they work round the clock, and they cost us what, $14.99 a month, I think.
Something like that.
Something like that. And they just listen intently to our show every episode, and then they're so inspired that they create like a theme song about the show. And
while we do it,
I just want to take a moment to thank them
about this episode. It's like we have our own roots.
It's our own roots band.
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought of it that way, but it is our own roots, and they're
Shon,
not even in the.
Remind me to tell you about my recurring dream that has Questlove in it.
Okay, I'm writing that down.
Okay.
Recurring Questlove dream.
All right, before I hit play on this, Jason, do you want to plug Unreal Sports real quick?
Yeah, we got a new show that we just dropped from the late night Fox television that is called Unreal Sports, and it is documentaries about fake sports, and it's one of my new favorite things. Ooh. Mockumentaries.
This is it right here. It's not going to have any sound, but if you go,
I love. It's
it.
a talkie. It's a talkie. I mean, what do they call this? I mean, it's not a talkie. Yeah. It's a silent film. Sorry.
The silent film. The first one is called Cross Country Snowboarding.
Okay. Yeah, I think with cross country snowboarding.
I don't know if it holds water without audio, but yeah.
No, it definitely does not. You definitely want to subscribe to Lore TV and watch it with sound. But
that's extra a month, right?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, subscribe to Lore. Yeah, it's additional feature. So everything when you subscribe to Lore, you get everything but without sound, unless you pay for the additional pricing. That's going to come to Disney Plus, but we're innovating it first.
It's like an airline ticket. Oh, you wanted a seat too?
It's like Spirit Airlines. It's a Spirit Airlines.
We're the Spirit Airlines of streaming.
Chris Brush says Unreal Sports. The first episode was a banger. I absolutely love it. I demand more mockumentaries on Lore.
Oh, fantastic. Look at that. Thanks, Chris, man. That's really great.
Chris. Can I tease some of the other ones that are coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So these are some of the others that are coming. I think we got to, I don't know when it's happening, but so one is called Pool. So just use your imagination, but it's playing pool in a pool. It's a great sport. And we have chain surfing, heavy booting. Oh, and then crabbling for our boomer audience. You're going to really like crabbling. but it's doing like, it's kind of like parkour meets kind of ADA compliant walking.
Yeah, and just for those of you who don't know how lore works, but every week I figure we should demo this on the podcast at least once. But every week you get loot to spend, and you can go here and you can say I want the next episode to be funded, and you go here and you put your loot in, and it adds to the total. And then once it hits 225,000 loot, it becomes available to stream for everybody on the network. And so it's our way of allowing the users and the subscribers to actually determine what gets funded and what doesn't. So go ahead and subscribe to Lore. $14 a month. You get loot every week you can spend and fund content. And then, of course, you can always buy more loot if you want to fund something faster. Or like that, I think like somebody could just fund a whole episode of that 225,000 loot. You can buy that from with one click from the Gold Loot Store and just fund an episode. And then everybody on the whole Lore platform gets to watch it. And so, yeah, it's really amazing system. So that brings us to the end of the show this week. And we have our in-house band.
Yeah.
And our what is the name of this band? Do you have a name for this band?
It's called John Boy's Mole. John Boy's Mole.
John Boy's Mole.
Ooh, yacht rock for us this week.
Like Questlove said, it's for dancing in your chair.
SNL tunes take us there. Sketches rolling, no despair.
Ooh, that's nice.
Life was sailing without care.
Ooh, smooth.
Heated till dreams start so high.
You guys aren't head bopping.
By a sci-fi reaching sky.
Ooh.
Breaking norms, that's why. Future tales refuse to die.
Oh, here's where it builds up.
Echoes of a past we crave. In the winds our dreams.
Man, it's bringing tears to my eyes. This is kind of sappy. It's bittersweet.
Rose and bar, she's back again. New show sails through the pen.
All right, guys. Well, everybody, thank you. Go ahead.
I want to hear if he's going to work some Tom McDonald in here.
Old friends become the trend. Winds of change and old guitars.
Okay, well, maybe. By the way, you guys can watch.
It's a slow jam, you know.
Just slow down. I like it. I want to let everyone know you can order all these songs on box set in the Criterion Collection, and we are taking orders now.
Yeah. Only $9.99 a month for 18 months.
Only $9.99 a month. So.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in to the Lore TV podcast. And please be sure the FolkLOOR podcast, and also be sure to share the podcast with your friends and tell everybody about it. And we'll see you guys next week when Shon is going to tell us. What were you going to tell us?
Can't remember.
Okay.
A story. Some great story.
No, the Yachtly Crew. How the Yachtly Crew concert.
The Yachtly Crew concert
That's
went.
what it is. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks.